Alright, so this video, I've already got the little Weber Kettle fired up and smoking out there. It's close to temp, so get this meat ready. What I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to do some beef back ribs. And these come from near the prime rib, where it comes from on a cow. And these, a lot of people when they think of beef ribs, they think about the short ribs, short boneless, real thick chunk of meat on there, real fatty, really good. But they think about like the plate ribs, big dino bones, big ribs. These are a little different. These, they're relatively cheap. You see the bone through on these, so you have shiners on these right here. I'm gonna get these opened up. We can see and look at them a little better. All right, so we got these out of the pack here. We'll kind of pat them dry a little bit. Get them turned over. You can see what I'm talking about. This meat, actually you can see it right here. See the bone? It's really thin there. If you can see that. See it really good here on the back, the underside. But I will tell you on these, and I've got a question for everybody that watches this. I'm just curious. There's a lot of different ways to do most things in barbecue. This, just like most ribs, you'll have a membrane here. Now, I see some people will leave the membrane. Some people remove the membrane. Some people take their knife and actually score the membrane. I've always taken it off. I've only done pork ribs, and I've done some beef short ribs. They're individual bones and not as a rack. I always do my pork ribs as a whole rack. Now that's another question too, which I'll mention here in a minute. But these, what I'm thinking is, you see the bone, it's not a lot of meat on either side of this. So I'm thinking, as ribs cook, as the meat pulls away from the bone, and this thing will end up being, here's the length of your bone. This thing's going to end up being like that meat-wise. So you're going to have bones sticking out probably an inch and a half on each end of this. So, not being as meaty a cut of ribs, I'm thinking this membrane could actually help hold this thing together as a single piece. I'm worried if I pull that membrane off, these things just fall apart on the grill. So for this one, I'm actually gonna leave that on there. I wasn't really gonna trim these all that much. There's a little bit here. So the first question, obviously, membrane on, membrane off, or score the membrane. What do you do? A lot of people think the membrane helps prevent smoke from penetrating the underside of these. Other people think, it helps hold in moisture and juiciness. I'm gonna use some mustard on them as a binder. I don't always do it, but with ribs I generally do. Kosher salt, some black pepper. Just kind of rub this on there real good. I like a lot of black pepper. If you watched my video yesterday, I like it pretty thick on mine. If you don't know what the slather is for, which is, when I rub the mustard on there, that's called a slather. If you don't know what that's for, that's really just a binder. You don't really taste much of that mustard in the final product at all. If you don't cook them a long time, you can probably get a little tang, but not much. I don't really notice much of the flavor at all in it. But what it is, it acts as a binder just to help your seasoning stick to it. And when you're smoking meat, generally, if you can get, your seasonings will stick to it. The rough textured surface, the tackiness of like mustard, something like that, that also helps smoke adhesion. It'll help your smoke actually stick to this and help bark formation. Now I like peppers. This isn't hot. It's just a smoky chipotle. But anyway, that's all that is. Just mustard slather, some kosher salt, heavy black pepper, and some chipotle. So I'm gonna take this out there and put it on and get it started. It's kind of a nasty day outside. It's raining. That's all it's done for the last few days here. But I've been able to bring the kettle up under the carport out there. All right, so I'm gonna use my phone to film out here. It's rainy mess out here today. Got a water pan set up in here. Another thing, some people use water pans, some people don't. I've got a half a snake going there. I'm probably not going to use all of it. Got some hickory chunks on there. Add a little hot water in here to this water pan. And again, the water pan, it just helps regulate temperature spikes. Also serves to help keep some moisture in there, keep from drying your meat out. And it also, I put my meat over it, so it helps to really be like a drip pan. Keep the grill from getting this nasty down in the bottom of it. Get these ribs on here. Actually, we'll put that thicker side, more meaty side over towards that. Put that on there over that pan. And we're gonna let that smoke for a little while. We'll close this lid up. I've got the vents on the bottom, they're wide open. If you see down there. So they're wide open, and the top vent's gonna be cracked about a quarter. Do these about 225, 235, somewhere in there. So let me close this thing up, because like to say, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. I had these on for about 45 minutes. Made a nerd decision. I didn't put it on camera. I wanted to get them out here. Country style, they're just pork ribs. I got a little bone in there, and those I did a mustard slather on them, and I also did a little bit of a rub I made myself, along with some kind of, regular salt and pepper. So yeah, we'll let those cook. I had extra room on there, so I decided to use it. All right, come out to check these, about the 2-hour point. Actually starting to get some bark on these ribs here, the beef ones. I'm gonna hit them with some little vinegar here. I took these country ribs off. I'm going to we got 160. Putting these in full now. Check this here. Oh yeah, mine's actually a little more, but I'm gonna get these wrapped. Let them finish up. All right, got these ribs wrapped. I'm gonna close this thing up and let the temperature come on up, and they should be done. Another probably hour 15 minutes or so. All right, got these off. I finally hit 203. Got a good bark on them. Just opened them up, getting ready to let them rest. Give them about 45-50 minutes probably to rest, and then be ready to eat.